Today I'm going to show you how to cut this corbel out using several different types of tools. First off, I'm going to cut the corbel pattern out. I need to cut 2 of these out of wood, and then the center part or the inner part of the corbel, I need 1 of those. My pattern here is printed out on matte cardstock. I got it done at FedEx, but you can print it out on your own printer in color or black and white. It looks good both ways. And I like to print it out on cardstock for patterns because it holds up better and I'm able to trace around it. So if you're unable to resize the image yourself on your printer, there are free apps on Apple and Android for your phone, and you can resize the image to any size that you want to print out. So the piece that I printed out on cardstock, the 8.5 by 11, didn't quite work up to be the dimensions that are on the board. So you can print it out and resize it and make it whatever size you want. It go as big or as small. This is about 4.5 inches by 8.5 right here. So now that I've got it cut out, I'm tracing along just the edge, and I'm not gonna super worry about it being really precise because I'll fix that when I'm cutting it out and make sure that the lines are all nice and smooth. And if you've got straight edges, just go ahead and line it up with those. That way that's less cuts you have to make. Okay, everything's laid out. I'm gonna be able to get almost all of my cuts. I'm gonna have to use one other board. It couldn't quite fit that last inner piece in, but I've got all the outers set up here. This is a coping saw. I told you I was gonna show you how to use hand tools. I'm gonna cut one all the way out using the coping saw and show you how to do that. I just got it here on a flat surface so that I can push down against. So one of the neat things about the coping saw is that you can adjust this hoop on the back. Just unscrew the handle and then you can change the angle of your blade. So now it's cutting sideways on that support hoop. And just tighten your handle back up. Okay, so I cut that off intentionally so that I can get in here a little easier. So admittedly, I don't use the coping saw very often, and I only have one dull blade because I haven't used it in quite some time. It can be done. I got the shape cut out relatively quickly and it didn't take a lot of effort. I've got a couple little rough edges, but a cheap file will make quick work of those rough edges where I didn't quite get in line with the pattern where I was cutting. This file here has a half round and then half of it's flat. So it's going to work perfect for this. Now for my weapon of choice, the jigsaw. These things will make corbels all day long. Obviously, much faster route. This jigsaw here is about $200 with the battery. I have one that I use that's a corded jigsaw that runs about 30 to 50 depending on where you buy it from. I've got my 2 boards, right, with the patterns, and I made sure that I had a nice crisp 45-degree angle here. You can cut that out with the hand saw, or I used my miter saw to do that. And I'm gonna tape these 2 pieces together and cut both sides out at once. This is my 14-inch Craftsman bandsaw. We bought this after a particularly good show we did at a market with the intent of using it to make corbels and do some cutouts. It was $400 and it paid for itself the first week that I had it because I was able to do so many cutouts. What I would do is I would stack layers. I would cut 4 or 5 boards at a time and cut all the layers out all at once and have 2 corbels made in about 15 minutes. The nice thing about using the bandsaw like that is that these match exactly. They're 2 mirror sides. The last saw I'm going to show you how to use is the scroll saw. This particular saw looks tired and old and beat up because it is. It is 27 years old. It's been kicking around multiple garages, moved probably 20 times. This is the scroll saw I learned on, and I've been using it since I was 10 years old. They run about $100 new. You can pick them up, I think Harbor Freight has the least expensive. So another cool aspect of the scroll saw that the bandsaw can't do, let's say I wanted to cut out a fun detail on the backside here. I'm not going to do it on this particular one because it's not part of the design. I would take a drill and make a hole right in there in the inside. I'll show you on this scrap piece of wood. Loosen the blade up. All right. Okay, the blade just comes out like that. You poke it through your hole, attach it to the bottom, attach it to the top, tighten it back up. And there you go. You want to get your blade back out, you just loosen it back up. There you have it. So time to glue up and clamp everything together. I'm actually probably just going to staple these together instead of clamping them so that I can show you how I'd finish them. You could also clamp them. I just have these $6 spring clamps that work really good for corbels. Or I'm gonna nail these together with the pneumatic nailer, and then that way that'll hold it till the glue dries and they'll be super solid. At this point, you're pretty much done except for finishing them. I've just got a couple shutters. You could make a shelf. We've got a video on how to do that. If you just look up Jamie Ray Vintage shelf or shutters or corbels, that should come up. And you could just drill these from the top or the bottom and attach those and then fasten it to the wall by screwing in through here. I'm gonna be milk painting ours. I'm gonna do just some Rust-Oleum. This is their dark walnut and satin. That's going to give me a base coat and some crackle. Usually we use layered chocolate from DIY paint and then lacquer over the top of that, but I'm going to try to see if we can get some decent chipping on this raw wood by just doing the spray paint and then milk paint over the top. Jamie's adding a little bit of milk paint. This is flour sack.
This is the second coat.
And then we'll blow dry it and get it chippy. You can kind of see she had some chippy and then she painted second coat on it.
Yeah, well, I already blow dried it the first coat, but you don't have to like blow dry it. It will chip, but it'll just make it crackle some more. The key is do not wait till the spray paint is all the way dry. Wait till it's still a little bit tacky and then put the paint on and that'll make it crack and chip.
Pretty quick, easy project from a couple templates. you can make yourself some corbels, and you can size these and make them however large you want to. Jamie got some good crackle on there with the milk paint, so the spray paint worked. These are fairly ornate, so even though they're on the small side, we would sell them in our shop for about $45. If you're making them for yourself, that's how much you could save less the materials. And the nice thing about getting the tools, if you're looking into getting those, is you can use them over and over and over again and make as many as you want, and even make your own designs. Thanks for being channel members. If you have any questions, please comment below. I'd be glad to help you out.
Hit the subscribe button.